The HP Outdoors Waterfowl podcast is powered by Cornerstone Gundog Academy. CGA is the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource. They've got over 160 instructional videos that includes everything you need to take your 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com to sign up for the free preview module and begin your training journey today. Cornerstone Gundog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. You are listening to the HP Outdoors Waterfowl podcast. Out in the field, how you've prepared determines how you'll perform. With balanced fat and protein to support peak condition, HPOWP Premium Performance Dog Food enhances strength, energy, and endurance. So when the pavement ends and the truck doors swing open, you and your dogs are ready for anything. Strong, focused, ready for anything? That's a HPOWP dog. Since 1898, Old Town has been building the most advanced, quality watercraft products to give you the very best experience on the water. Whether you're hunting, fishing, or enjoying a relaxing paddle on the lake, there's a boat for every type of adventurer. If you haven't seen it, check out their newest offering, the new grab-and-go watercraft designed to function as your boat, blind, and retriever. The easy-to-conceal, 11-foot 9-inch, 56-pound Solo Sportsman is the ideal craft for those in search of a stable, lightweight craft that's easy to paddle and even easier to transport or stash. Designed with the hunter and angler in mind, the Solo Sportsman is equipped with thoughtful shell, tackle, and tool storage, a comfortable and adjustable seat and foot braces, an accessory track, and rod holders. Check it out at oldtowncanoe.com/sportsman. Original design, select grade components, superior sound, and unparalleled service. 737 takes exceptional pride in producing the finest quality, best built premium calls on the market today. They're made right here in America, and they're offered only direct to consumers through their website. Shipping in the U.S. is always free, and international orders are also accepted online. A 20-day money-back guarantee and lifetime warranty accompanies every call purchased. 737 Duck Calls. Lead the flock. Soundgear is offering a 35% discount to the HP Outdoors listeners for their instant fit industrial and shooter products. You can head over to soundgearhearing.com and use the promo code HPO35 to claim your discount today. All right, welcome to episode 187, the HP Outdoors Waterfowl podcast, where your on-demand audio source for all things waterfowl and waterfowl hunting. If you're new to the show, you can head over to hpoutdoors.com. Get caught up on all the past episodes there. Check out some of our new sweet apparel that we've got going on. And if you're also into podcasts and you're hanging around other directories, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, basically anywhere you can find quality podcast content, you can find our show. And, of course, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're a Facebook user, you can head over to our Facebook group and talk with a lot of like-minded hunters and listeners of this show, and also my co-host Dan Harushka. Dan, what's up, man?
Hey, living my best COVID life over here.
I'm not even sure what that means anymore after all this, but I know you're 75 hard, so I'm a little. I am
75 hard. 27 days. Today's my 27th. It is 10 o'clock, and I still have one workout left to do, which I can do an inside workout for my second one. One always has to be outside, and it's been good for me. I've needed to do something like this.
I mean, I have some good news for you on that front. We happen to be joined by someone this week who the last time he was on this show, you got a little workout in during the episode. So maybe we can work it in again, because this week we've got Dustin Jones of 737 Duck Calls back with us. Dustin, what's up, man?
How you doing, fellas?
Good, man. I think we were chatting a little bit before we started recording, but I think we could probably get a little bit of something out of Dan this episode if we play our cards.
Get out of
right.
here! Get out of here! I lifted heavy last night. I'm not moving today. I'm gonna get on the treadmill for an hour.
That sounds.
Josh, when you take the over and under on 30 minutes, we get him to do something.
I like our chances on that. Yeah, I think I'd take that one. I think we can hit that. Dustin, let's get started, man. Lots have been changing. We talked about this before we started recording, but the last time you were on the show, episode 77, April of 2018. And while it doesn't seem like that long ago, man, a lot's changed since then. And I mean, no one knows that more than you right now with bringing a baby into the family here recently. So tell us about what's going on, man, and how you getting acclimated to the dad life.
Yeah. So about 12 weeks ago, my son was born, my first child, and life changing instantly. Everybody always told me that, but I didn't put a lot of weight into it, and I was wrong. Fortunately, my wife is so good at being a mom, and she absolutely loves it. It kind of helps me out, but with her patience, because I've not really been around a lot of crying babies in my life, and it's just a different change of pace. But he doesn't cry a lot. So he's a good baby. It's a change of pace for me, but we love him. I wouldn't change it for the world. He's what is he? I think he's put on about 4 pounds in 4 weeks. We had some complications right at birth where we had to stay in the hospital for an extra 20 something days, but now he's just doing great and living life in a pandemic.
How's the sleep schedule
He was
going?
born. Well, his sleep was really good when we got home. He would, sleep all day and he sleeps most of the night, but now he's in, I guess, what they call sleep regression, and he doesn't sleep any during the day, but he'll sleep 5 to 7 hours at night right now.
Ooh,
so it's not too bad.
That ain't bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take that. My daughter is a year and a half, a little over now, and her thing is she's always been a really good sleeper, but her thing now is she gets up at like 1:30, 2 o'clock every single morning and just screams, like just starts yelling, like it's time to play. She's up hanging around, and it's just enough to wake me up, get me irritated. I have to go in there and be like, it's night time, and then she just goes back to sleep. And it's funny, but like it's just her routine right now. But 3 months ago, that was unheard of. She would just sleep through the night, no problem. She'd sleep till like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Like, it's just weird, but it ebbs and flows. So take it while you can get it, man, for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what everybody's been telling us. Take it while you can get it, because he was sleeping 8 hours when we went for the first 8 weeks a night.
Yeah.
And I mean, he still sleeps good at night. He just, during the day, the kid wants to see what's going on. He doesn't no desire to sleep.
Yeah.
So did you make any special duck calls for him?
I did hand turn him it's a African Blackwood yellow cedar burrow with brass inlay. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, that was his first duck call. Yeah. I turned that probably, I don't know, a month or two before he showed up.
That's
so
cool.
Going back, and I remember my mom saying, your life's going to change forever, and like you said, you're like, yeah, okay. Well, it is a game changer, man. Like having that extra responsibility. But something I found out, I was just worried about being in charge of another life, right? But it seems like it comes so naturally. Like, why are you laughing, Josh?
You were worried about being in charge of another life, and bam, you get 2 right off the bat.
Yeah. I started out hot, but it was it does come natural, and just the love and everything. So congrats on a little man. That's awesome. I'm sure you can't wait to have him in blind with you.
I'm super excited to just, golf, hunt, anything with him. So it'll be good. He's going to get to grow up in some pretty good circumstances. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, man, this kid's going to get, hang out at the call shop. He's going to be at the club. Now, Kyle and I already have big plans for him as far as decoy technician, years down the road. But, he's got it made.
I can picture
he's
it
not
now.
going to have to do
I can picture it now. The first time that he goes to school and everyone's talking about duck hunting and how crowded it was on the local, wildlife management area. And he's like, what's the wildlife management area? He's like, you mean like where you guys plant all your corn and do all your farming and stuff, or what?
He better not be like that. I think he needs to grind it out for a few years, like we can get some driver's license on some farm ponds and stuff like that. I think that you got to grind it out to really appreciate what you have.
Well, tough love right there.
Just send him to PA. We'll get.
What are you talking about? You just told me that's Band City.
Well, he can grind on 2 mallard limits.
2 mallard limit, man. Ooh.
Oh, gross.
Yeah,
I hate
one
hearing that.
one Canada honker in the fall. So yeah,
It is going up, but yeah, the two mallards is just rough. It's rough, and the summertime we see. I drove by our lake today, and there's just mallards everywhere, and I'm like, man, it really goes down to just two birds in the fall. So,
What did it come from?
4,
For
which isn't that great either, but
yeah,
cut it in half, and only one Susie, so
yeah, that's brutal, man.
it's tough. It's not fun, but it is what it is. So, man, big things changing for you. We're starting to see it leak on social media a little bit. I think we've talked over the last months, or I don't know when you've got that first sketch of the actual building, but go through it, man. How exciting is that? And maybe give us a sound tour, I guess, for the people listening. What do you got going on?
Tour.
Right. Well, it's been churning in our heads for a while as we've continued to grow, and the building that we're currently in doesn't have the electrical capacity to run the machines that we need. So we decided, instead of retrofitting that building, we'll wait a little bit and just build a new facility. Well, some land came up on a good location on the highway that we really couldn't pass up. So we bought it and thought, okay, well, let's not sit on it. Let's just do it. So we started sketching, and, probably months of back and forth with the architect. And we finally got the sketch that we liked, one that we thought had good flow, good curb appeal, all that stuff, but still had that. We're kind of going for a rustic industrial look as far as the inside goes. It will have a lot of waterfowl stuff in it, but we don't want it to just be specifically, all ducks. We want it to just have a good overall, really, like, high end feel. So we want people to come in and experience it. They feel like, oh, okay, this is not just a showroom. This is not just a place where they make duck calls. This is something. So that was kind of the idea behind everything, that, every thought process into every little step, from the call counter to the chairs to, everything. We find details because we pride ourselves on being a higher end brand, and we need that place to continue that on for us, especially because it's going to be, our main hub where people are going to get to come in. They're going to get to interact with Kyle and I. They're going to, they can see calls being made. They can do anything they want call related. We're completely transparent as far as that goes. If somebody wants to see it go from start to finish, once we get the machines in there, and they're going to have that ability.
So how is that layout going to go? Is that going to be kind of open, or is that going to be kind of back room? Because you are going to have a bar and sitting area type deal to welcome people and let them hang out and enjoy the new building and the area and everything to go with it. So how is that kind of sectioned off, or how are you running that?
So when you walk into the building, it's the building is around right at 4,000 square feet. So you're going to have about 2,500 square feet of showroom. When you walk in, there's going to, nice call counter. It's all open. It's going to be open to the bar, all the seating around the fireplace, and then that will flow right out into our outdoor patio, where you'll have, all the seating and the games and all that stuff. So with our shop and the town that we're putting it in, we're kind of in a unique situation where we can serve two needs. One, we can fill the need for us to have a new call shop and a showroom and do all that stuff, but also provide a nicer place for people to go have a drink, maybe sit down and watch the game, hang out with your friends. But also, when people are driving distances to our call shop, they're not going to be there for 10 minutes and see everything and be like, okay, that was it. So, we wanted to create the atmosphere where people can come in, maybe after a hunt, sit down, have a beer with their buddies, talk calls, anything they want to do, as far as just hanging out in there. We're going to provide them a space to where they can feel comfortable and they don't feel like they have pressure to leave. We want people to come in, feel at home, have a good time, and just get the overall experience. I think the coolest part about that bar is going to be, and the overall feel is we're going to have, I think we have one mount that's 40 mallards that's coming down off the wall.
Oh,
And then, swans and geese and all these different things in there that people in the waterfowl world, or not in the waterfowl world, will get to experience. So they're going to get to come into our showroom, our bar. They're going to get to see all gamuts of waterfowl. I mean, from the mounts to all the photography that we have. We're going to have just, photos all over the place dedicated to the photographers that work so hard with us. And so they're going to get to be in that experience essentially without, actually ever have waterfowl hunted. So I think that might be kind of a cool aspect of the bar.
do you need any like mergansers to mount or anything? Because we have a lot of them around.
We don't discriminate. Send them.
Yeah, so couple buffies.
Yeah, take it.
Yeah, man.
You can be.
Yeah. I like the way you're going with that. I mean, I can tell you personally. I've driven with my family to a Cabela's, 2 hours away just for something to do on a day because we didn't have anything better to do. And it was like, oh yeah, my kid will like, seeing what's going on. And my wife doesn't hunt, but she likes seeing the mounts and, walking through the whitetail stuff and reading the stories about the deer and all that kind of stuff. Just sort of like getting that opportunity to immerse. And, I don't care much about the deer stuff as much as I used to, but, being able to, to sit and watch this, look at the photos and, to hear the stories, the fact that they get to interact with you, Kyle, and stuff is awesome. I mean, the stories and, the things that you guys can talk about, just sort of how this whole thing came. And what'll be cool is I'm sure a lot of that stuff in the showroom will be things that personally have meaning for you guys, probably, photos, or you could probably sit there and be like, I remember that day that we took that photo and, such and such did something. And then, Dan had a leak in his waders and he had to leave early. Right. And then we shot him up after he, stuff like that is cool. And that is something where, me personally, I'd sit there and probably have 1 or 10 beers and, listen to you just, the whole, all day, which would be pretty cool. So I like where you're going with that. I like that idea a lot.
Right. And I think one other thing we're going to have is like, because with all the photos that we have, there's no possible way to, display them. So we're going to have a couple TVs that are going to be rolling photos and rolling, videos that we have and all that kind of stuff. So they can see more of that throughout the shop.
So is cornhole inside or outside?
Weather depending.
Nice. Speaking of that, I was thinking about something today. So I just built the first thing that I've ever built in my life. I added a little bit of deck or off an existing deck. And Josh, you're
just funny, man. It's like the first thing you've ever built. Come on, man.
It is like the first semi big project, right? So I put it on there and I was like, man, this thing's pretty sturdy. And then I was looking at your shop and I was like, dude, that thing needs to be, built to withstand these tornadoes coming through here. So, how is that like on the forefront of your mind out there? Like, do you have any worry about that? And is it, I guess, just the specs of it? You have to kind of build it up pretty heavy, right?
Well, I mean, it's a metal, so it's a red iron building. It's just, those are hard to engineer for tornadoes. I mean, you just can't really do it. So no.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, there's really, as far as safety goes, like in the other building that I'm currently building, it has a safe room in it. A lot of people will do that. But as far as building your home to withstand a tornado, I don't even know if there's a cost-effective way to do that other than put it under the ground or concrete it.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just so hit and miss, the tornadoes are. I think it's been over 50 years since the town that I live in's actually had a tornado in the city limits. A lot of our tornadoes are, western Oklahoma, they come through Oklahoma City, but they just seem to lift when they get around us. Yeah. I'm not real sure why, but I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
I think a lot of the wind shear requirements, Dan, are in hurricane areas. They tend to have to withstand like 90 or whatever, hurricane winds. So
you can brush up on more than me.
You can brush up on your wind shear strength at another time.
Yeah. I don't know if you're ready for those calculations yet.
No, I'm not.
Math is hard.
Definitely not. No engineer here. No. So what what do you envision? When is this going to be ready to open the doors? And, do you expect to see just, swarms of waterfowlers in there? Or do you think that it's going to attract, you know, everyone?
Well, what we're looking at, our original time frame was around October 1st. I think that we're going to be pushing more towards the middle of October to the first of duck season to make sure 100% ready to go. That's with, soft opening, working the kinks out. I truly believe that we are going to be bombarded with people. Waterfowl in Oklahoma has taken lift off. I mean, it's getting pretty pretty big deal. I mean, it's always been a big deal, but now with the way that people communicate faster and people can see how quote unquote fun or cool duck hunting looks on social media. I don't know how do you want to put it, but you just got a lot more people involved now. So I think that, yes, I think we're going to have a lot of people there, and I think we'll have a lot of people that aren't waterfowlers. I really do. There's a pretty good buzz going around already about it. Not here locally, but just around. It's just something different. We don't. It's really in Oklahoma there aren't a lot of like cool quote unquote outdoor shops. We just have the Bass Pro and Cabela's. We have a couple smaller shops, and we're not going to be an outdoor shop by any means, but we are going to have that cool outdoor vibe where people can go and talk to like-minded people and just hang out and have a good time.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually thinking about that sort of along the same lines what Dan's asking, and I was curious, like what you guys are doing, how it's received, like within the community, with like some of the I'm air quoting here, old timers, that have been duck hunting for a long time in that area, and now all of a sudden they're seeing this mega powerhouse brand being built, and the shop going up, and the 737 branding, and just they're like, whoa, what's these kids doing over here, and they're shooting a bunch of ducks and all that stuff, and I'm curious if if you've seen folks like that embracing what you guys are doing, or if they've expressed like any kind of skepticism towards it or whatever, or just sort of how is that kind of going?
It's actually I've not received any negative feedback on it, especially, and older people, like the older waterfowls that you're talking about, they're just interested in it. They think it's cool, it's neat. We're getting other than the biggest waterfowl brand in our state was G&H Decoys, and they still are a big brand. So to have another waterfowl brand in Oklahoma like that, it just gets them excited. I think it brings a good, it's a good spotlight for our state. We love waterfowling. It's what we love. We put a lot of time, effort into it. It's not just a hobby. So I think that they can see the effort that we're putting into it, and they like watching it grow. They like seeing what's happening. It's exciting. It's different, and people around here that when you tell them you make duck calls, they're like, "Do what?" And then you tell them what you're going to do there, and you tell them about the experience that they can have when they come in, see the different. It's easy to talk about waterfowling or whatever, but this is a place where it's going to speak for itself. It's you're going to walk in there and it's going to tell the story of waterfowl hunting. So that's just going to be a new experience for them, and I think it'll bring a good light on waterfowling. I don't think there's a bad light on it by any means, but I think people are going to be like, oh, okay, there's a lot more to this than we really thought. There's land management, or there's 100 different aspects of waterfowling that people don't even really realize, I think.
Are you going to have anything in the shop that sort of chronicles the club and sort of like how it started, and like photos and stuff of like how it was when you first got it, and sort of how you guys have done some of the management to create sort of what you have now? Or
yeah, I think that Kyle's in the process of, or he's been talking about it, but yeah, we want to have, like, for one thing, we want to put a nice, like a coffee table book together about the club, but also have a B-roll of it on a TV, because we want people to see that. It's an extraordinary place. It's really cool, and it's really cool that it's 15 minutes from the shop. A lot of people don't realize that good of waterfowling is right in the central part of Oklahoma. A lot of people, when you talk about waterfowling, think northwestern Oklahoma, So when you say it's smack dab in the middle, it's just kind of shocking to people. But yeah, we're gonna have, most of our photos that you guys have seen, most of them are always at the club, so they'll see it in that aspect. But yeah, we're putting something together so people can really get a feel for it, because
Yeah,
it's
that's
something
cool.
that Kyle's worked hard on, and it's such a cool place.
Yeah.
How high are the ceilings in
And
there?
they're 16 foot at the bottom, and they go to 27 foot. So the low end's 16, and then they go to 27.
I'm just trying to imagine it, Josh. I know you're laughing at every question that I asked tonight, but man, it just, 40 mallards coming down off the ceiling. Like,
No, honestly,
And
I thought that you were going, now that you're like a regular Bob Vila. I was wondering if you were like trying to figure make sure the correct slope on the whatever.
get out of here. So
this old
Dustin,
house classic.
yeah, honest question here. So
Okay.
you're obviously going to be out in the field hunting. You have this big venture, the new shop, and being around and all that. How's your fall going to look, man? You got the boy at home. Like,
Yeah.
you got a lot of irons in the fire, my man.
Believe me, that's been brought up several times. Those days, those Saturdays of maybe going out and hunting at 10 a.m. probably not going to happen anymore, because I want to get back to the shop and interact with people. They're going to be coming a long ways, and want to make sure that we're available for people, especially on the weekends when most times that's when they're going to be there. So no, my plan is to obviously still hunt, and spend as much time in the shop as I can interacting with people. And Kyle's the same way. When we're at the club, we're 15 minutes away. So, as soon as we're done hunting, we'll be over here. And during the week, it's where I live. So
That's
it's going to be
awesome.
a different, it's going to be a different season. Yep. So
Yeah,
I may
I
have
think
to scale back my hunts a little bit just so I can.
no, I think that goes along with just life in general right now. We're kind of all, obviously you've got a lot of things that are, going on, and I think just all of us in general, know with just everything that's, we just found out that the Big Ten delayed football today, so I'm a little bit crushed about that. So I'm just, I'm just hoping that the hunting season is, we get a good, good flight this fall and have good opportunities to hunt, because I'm not going to be doing much else. It doesn't seem like, but I wanted to ask. So you've had the chief call out for a while now, and I'm curious, with the opening of the shop, is there any kind of special call kind of situation on the horizon that might coincide with the opening of the shop that might be able to get a little excited about?
No, I think we got something you can get excited about. So we've got all kinds of new stuff coming out. We're in the process now of finishing up a new goose call, which is going to be a lesser call.
Ooh.
Yep. It's real short. It's probably 2 3/4 inches. Oh man, maybe 3 inches overall. It's real short. It's probably 35% smaller than the nitro.
Wow.
Wow.
Right. We have a lot of guys, lessers. I mean, a lot of guys hunt lessers,
Yep.
especially, around here. So we get a lot of requests for it. And it's something that we've been talking about for 2 years. And then last year we decided to go ahead and start with it. So we started working on it. And then through the summer, we've gotten it nailed down, and we're going to get ready to release it. We're going to release, I think the goose call will actually be released sometime in September. We want to get those early season guys that call.
Awesome.
So, and then shortly after the lesser call, we'll be introducing our new cut down.
Oh, snap.
So, yeah. So lots of requests for that too. The two main things that we get requested was a lesser call and a cut down. So we're going to bring them both out this year. The cut down is going to come out probably about the time the shop opens up. I think that we're going to probably drop all that. We're going to have, so just like with the chief, with the cut down and the lesser call, we're going to try to do a apparel branding run with that as well, because it went over really well with the chief. I think it's a cool aspect of it. Even though you're part of the 737 brand, you can rep the equipment that you use. You know what I mean? So the cut down was the next move for us in the duck call world.
So I remember, like we said, it was almost 2.5 years ago, the last time you were on. And I remember talking about the first production duck call that you had. And it was kind of a long time in the works. It seemed like, you went around to a lot of different guys and talked to them and really nailed it down. So how has that process of creating new calls, the chief and these, the cut down and this lesser call, is that something you're comfortable with where you're at as a caller and a maker now, that you're just going with it and you think you have it nailed down? Have you been, sending it out?
Yeah.
Has it been a little kind of the same process or how's that going?
Well, it's the same process when you design a new duck call. Cut down's a little bit different, but I seek feedback from people who know how to run them more than anything. So if I give a call to a guy and, I can blow it, but I want to know what he thinks about it. And so when you get feedback from all these different people, it can kind of take the growing pains out of it, so to speak. So if I was to just send a call out which is essentially almost the number one, was built around my calling style. Well, we quickly found out that was not a calling style that appealed to most. So we had to make changes to that. And so now, instead of, backtracking, we do that on the front end. So if it takes us 18 months to release a call, it's because we're trying to do our due diligence on the back end. So when the customer receives it on the front end, they don't have these issues. So whether it be, if the call tends to stick or let's say we have a weak spot somewhere, maybe a cork slide, anything like that, we work all those glitches out before it ever even hits the customer. So in our minds, it's better not to come out with the call too fast, so we can kind of alleviate those headaches, because you don't want a guy to get his call out there. Because when you get a new call, you're super excited, you get it out in the field, and then it's not what you expected, or it sticks, or something like that. So we're trying to get rid of all those issues right up front. We're never going to build the perfect duck call for everybody. That's impossible. Everybody blows different. Everybody's air presentation is different, but we try.
I was going to say, it has to be very difficult to just try and, fit it to everyone out there. And like you said, I guarantee it's impossible, because some people are, coming out of their shoes blowing so hard and other people aren't. And it's different. But the nice thing about it, we had Jim Saubier on here again from Sitka, and same thing with them. Like they don't put anything out there until it's perfect, until they want it, and there's no pressure on them. And you guys probably don't feel any pressure. You might take 18 months, 2 years to get it where you want it, and then you put it out, and you have it where you want it. So that's a good place to be.
I mean, 18 months is probably a little excessive, but at least one full duck season so guys can run it in the field.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest test. You can run a call in the shop all day long, but if it's not getting cold and wet and all that different aspects of hunting, then you're not really doing any good.
Yeah. Sand and mud and
right.
Oklahoma red dirt out there.
Yeah. So. Infamous red dirt. But so now, we have the luxury of having a more expanded call line. So when somebody comes to us and says, this is my hunting style, this is my calling style, and this is my calling level, then I can put them in a number one if they're just starting, or a dose. But if it's somebody that's got some season on them and they want a little bit of advanced call, well, I can move them to the chief. So now, or the savage. So now we have where we can kind of cover all gamuts, as opposed to when we very first came out to the market, we only had the number one and the dose. So now as we're getting, our brand's getting older, we're diversifying more, we're reaching more callers. It's a little easier to put guys into the right call now than it was before.
Well, it also gives guys that cut their teeth on the number one the opportunity to grow and stay within the line, if they're comfortable with, because that's one thing it's nice about your calls is they're all, at least from the ones I've seen so far, they're all very similar in feel and shape, to an extent. So you can almost, because it's one of those things where it's like, people are afraid to sometimes buy calls online because they can't blow them, and for they don't, they get it and it's whatever. I mean, you can generally tell to some extent what it's going to feel like in your hand, at least what if you were going from a 1 to a chief or something like that, maybe a little bit different in size and a little bit different, but like in general it's going to feel somewhat familiar to you. So that was always a benefit, I thought, when you're kind of hopping in. And so you can focus more on like, well, this call is going to allow me to do these things, and less on the, well, is it going to feel good in my hand, and is the mouthpiece going to feel good for me, and all that kind of stuff. It sort of took that out for me.
Right. Yeah, the chief is the only call that's in the duck call line that's a little different. It's 25% smaller than the rest of them, but it's also the loudest one we have.
Yeah.
So the chief, that call is about everything I want in a duck call. It's the perfect call in my opinion. It's just because you can get as you can put as much air through it as you want, and you can get as low as you want. So. And same thing with the Savage. The Savage just doesn't have that top end little bark or as much hold on the bottom end. It has a lot of hold, but not near as much as the Chief. The Savage is the good hybrid for the guy who wants to go from the number 1 to a louder call, but he's not ready to jump to the Chief yet, because the Chief is an advanced call. It takes good air presentation to continuously roll it. You know what I mean? Whereas the Savage, it's that barrier in between beginner and advanced that allows them a little bit of forgiveness, but they still get the qualities of an advanced call.
Yeah.
So explain a little bit about the lesser call and the, taking it down 35% for people that might be, on your website and say, what is that short thing doing?
Yeah.
Give people an idea what your motive was.
Well, the motive there is just simply to make it faster. Shorten the barrel up, and you close that gap from the air to the reed, and it pops. So that was the, lessers are loud and fast. So, and they don't shut up. So,
yeah, when there's 5,000 above you, and for the guys that watch any kind of waterfowl YouTube or shows, man, when you hear people calling it,
oh yeah,
right, it's just one after another.
What about the guts system with that call? Will it did it require a different set than what the Nitro has, or kind of how is that going to all shape up?
It does have a different set. The Nitro uses a set of broke-in guts that we have. For the lesser call, we didn't need that set of guts, so we have a set of guts that's just higher pitched. So the Nitro is just, it's a deeper call. So essentially we couldn't use the same guts on that. We had to get a different set of guts. And that's where, a lot of the time was right there. Because, when you get a set, you get your guts in there. Well, it doesn't work with this barrel and insert combo. It works with this one, or it doesn't work with that one. It's a lot of back and forth. They're super finicky, but I think that we've got to pretty much nailed down, and it's going to be a little different. It's going to have essentially the same shape as the Nitro. It won't have a band on it, so it will be an even flow, still an O-ring fit call, but it's smaller, but your hand doesn't overwhelm it. You know what I mean? Like it still has good ergonomics, because that's what I was afraid of. Kyle and I both were afraid of, okay, if we make it that much smaller, it's not going to feel good in the hand. But the bell that we have on the end of our barrels actually played into our favor on this call, because it was a little bit bigger and your hand just fits right in the gap. So it ergonomically, it's there. And obviously sound wise, we think we've got it right where it needs to be. So we're excited to release that call, because, in Oklahoma, especially, a lot of guys, there's a lot of lessers here. I think both of you guys have been a part of it. Did you guys hunt lessers in Oklahoma, or was it Kansas?
I've hunted both.
in Kansas. Yeah, I've hunted in Kansas.
Yeah, so you guys know, it's pretty big deal in the Central Flyway, especially.
Yeah.
I remember when we were out with Ben, and man, the first lessers came over, and the first one was going this way and the second one was going this way, and I was blowing my call so hard that I was like, getting dizzy, and I literally had to stop and just like take a few breaths. I'm just like, oh my gosh, my eyes are going like this. But I'm like, all right. And then I look back up and it's time to shoot them. So, but yeah, it's a different ball game out there.
Josh, that was his excuse on why he whiffed 3 times on that volley.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it all, man. No doubt.
We'll get Ben to back us up on that.
Yeah,
Ben knows better. He watches. I'm usually next to Ben. He's like, good shooting, man. That's exactly how he says it too. And then he smacks my butt.
So let's talk a little bit about the club. Are you guys, obviously, always work going on there. Talk a little bit about what you got going on for, farming for ducks and just sort of where you're at in the process and kind of.
Can I ask one more question about calls?
Yeah, go ahead. Actually, you guys keep talking. I got to go grab my power cord, so I'll be right back.
All right. So with all the new calls coming out, how many machines does it take to run those? And is it just a different setup, or is it all in the programs that you put in to cut them?
Well, you have 2 different machines when you're making calls. Typically, we have the lathe that turns, the barrel and the insert, the radius part of it, and then you use a vertical mill to cut your tone boards. So it's 2 separate machines. It just goes from one stage to the next. We don't have our machines yet for the new building. They're going to be coming soon with COVID. The trying to get machines right now has been kind of a mess. So
trying to get anything's been a pain.
Yeah, we've even experienced that quite a bit with the building materials. That's kind of what's held us back a little bit. A lot of things getting shut down, manufacturing. So we can't get windows. I mean, just little things you're 6-8 weeks out on. Even doors, we were 6 weeks out on. Things that people typically always have, within 1 to 2 days. We're unable to get right now.
You just can't get them. And that's, not to go back to my deck building and trying to parallel that, but they said this is the worst they've seen treated lumber in 150 years. And I told some people that I built a deck and they're like, where did you find the lumber? And I was like, I just went and I actually ended up cleaning them out and I had just enough to finish the deck. But people are everyone's home and they're doing these projects and, they're building stuff and it's just not there. If one plant gets shut down for a little bit and they're out for a bit. So I can imagine that you guys have been running into that heavily. Like you said, 1 to 2 days on a window and it's taking you 6 weeks. That has to be frustrating when you're trying to get up and running, It
is, because we're trying to meet that duck season opener deadline. We want to be open at least. I would like to be open. I'll be ready to be open at least 30 days before that, just so we can, get our feet wet, get our, work the kinks out before we have that mass rush of duck season. But it's circumstances that we can't do anything about. So we'll just, push on.
Keep on keeping on.
That's right.
That's awesome. No, so you, speaking of windows in that place, is the whole one side, like the whole lower half of it, windows? Those doors?
There are 4 windows that are 8 foot by 8 foot, and they're going to go. 2 of those are in the showroom and 2 of them are in the shop. So let some light in the shop. But what we're actually going to do there is select 4 photos and have them put over those windows.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Something a little different.
Dude, Josh, we need to plan a trip out there.
No doubt.
Yes, you do.
Without question. I would agree with that.
Did you get your power cord?
I did. Yeah. I had my laptop upstairs today doing some stuff and I was getting down to critical levels here. So I had to.
Critical levels. So, but as far as the club goes, this year, as I've been the most distant from the club as I've ever been. And that's, unfortunately, it's just a few things, with the birth of my son and my job, I haven't been around as much. So Kyle has been working himself to death out there. And it's looking unreal. We've got more crops than has ever been out there. Areas are are drained and burned that have never been drained. For instance, the refuge that we have that we never hunt, we were able to drain it, and he burned it this year. It looks unreal. He planted it in Milo. The property looks, well, every year it gets better and better. And Kyle, he gets better and better with those farming practices. But, this year we got lucky with some really good storms that popped up, kind of intermittent, that dropped some rain on it, and it really kicked the growth up. Last year we kind of battled that with the drought, had to do a lot of irrigating. This year is not really the case as far as irrigating goes, but having a lot of hog problems as usual. So but it looks really good out there.
What do you guys get out there and shoot them?
So the state will actually come out with a helicopter and shoot them, and then also they have federal trapper, and then Kyle has a boar buster out there. So they're getting trapped. They're getting pressure all the time. Guys running dogs, running thermals, helicopter. I mean, they're getting pressured all the time,
and they're still just tearing it up.
Yeah, they're out of control. Man. It truly is it's a big problem, and I think we've probably talked about that last time I was on. It's just it hadn't got any better, obviously, but we're doing what we can.
So just short of shooting as many as you can, there's nothing else you can do, or
no, I mean, not that we've found, or sometimes they say when you run dogs on them, they'll if you run them hard for a little while, it'll push them out. Well, all that does is push them to your neighbor, and then they just come right back. And it is true, when you run dogs on them, they will move out for a short period of time. They'll come back, but we've had some pretty fun hunts with dogs. I mean, there's some guys around here. Kip Peck, I don't know if he's came out a few times, and he and another guy that he hunts with have some outstanding dogs. And actually a few people that they come to the club. That's kind of the nightcap, is we'll go hunt hogs, and it's an experience that a lot of people have never experienced, and it's wild. I'll just say that.
You mentioned the neighbors. I've always kind of wondered, with your club property, the adjacent properties around it, are you guys surrounded by other larger tracts of land that do any kind of like management for waterfowl, or any kind of management at all to that extent, or like what do you guys compete with there immediately around your property? Because it certainly seems like your place is holding a ton of ducks most of the time, and I'm like, your neighbors just sit there and watch like thousands of birds pile onto your property and are just like, dang on, man. I could see that being an issue for some of the neighbors, being like, I'm just trying to scratch a limit, man. Like,
well, so the Little River, which is what runs on that property, is historically known for just a bunch of natural sloughs. So when we have a normal year of rain, there's a lot of water up down that river. Now it's not managed. A lot of it's not managed. And I can't think of anybody within probably 100, I wouldn't say 100, maybe 75 to 100-mile radius that's planting crops for ducks like that. I mean, there probably is. I'm maybe speaking out of place, but I don't know of many. So the funny thing about the neighbors, there is a wetland just to the east of us down the river, and those guys, man, all the ducks are over there. Well, we can't figure it out. And well, they finally figured it out this last year. The guy said, we just wait until you fire the airboat up, and then we shoot our limit and go home. so the airboat kicks them up for a minute, and then they go over there and shoot their limit, and ducks come right back. So they like us now. Now that they figure out how to hunt it, they're they can go hunt at 10 a.m. They're just having a grand time. So, but as far as the neighbors go and waterfowl numbers, not really hearing any bad. Nobody's upset about it. I mean, it's literally just bringing more waterfowl into the area.
Right.
I mean,
right.
And every year we're imprinting more and more ducks. It didn't start. That was a natural bottom anyway. But once we put the dikes on it and, can actively manage the water, and when you start imprinting those ducks, from 2014 to now, the imprinting the difference is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is. It's cool to see, as the years go by, the numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger. So this year, during our split, we had the highest numbers that we've ever had, which is really cool to see. So every year it's getting better. Unfortunately, our duck season, we got cold early and warmed up, so the birds reverse migrated on us. And I was talking to Ben at Big Kansas all year long. Okay, because he's as the bird flies, he's not that far north of us, really and truly. So we're talking to each other, and he's like, "Yeah, I got birds." And I said, "Well, our birds left." And then he's like, "Our birds left," and I'm like, "Well, we don't have them. They're stuck up in Western Oklahoma, but then they come back." So it's just all season long those birds reverse migrated, and then about January they didn't really come back.
Yeah, I think
just wasn't any snow.
I was out there at the end of the year, and I know that the numbers were down. We got on some really nice hunts, but he's like, "Man, we haven't had ducks." And I remember him saying that he was talking to you quite a bit, and he's like, "Yeah, they have some down there." And then the next week, he's like, "No, Dustin doesn't have any down there, and we have them." And then the following week, it's reversed. And yeah, it's kind of crazy how they jump back and forth. And I don't know,
it was a yo-yo all season.
Yeah,
this year especially.
Yeah, there was right when I got out there. I think it was right before Christmas. And the first day or two is kind of slow, and then they showed up overnight, man, and it was just bangerang. It was just tons. It was awesome, but
yeah,
it was. That's awesome. So
I think
fun
when you killing fresh birds.
We need to get Kyle on here. Do you guys do? What else do you plant? Corn and what else you got going on
Milo. There? You got some corn, Milo. There'll be some chufa in there, and then moist soil.
Nice.
Do a lot of moist soil management for those early season birds that don't need to hit the carbs. So when it's not that cold. But honestly, unless it gets really, really cold, they love moist soil. I mean, they really do like it. So having the moist soil and then having all the other foods just provides us, good hunting year round during the season, with a good migration. But if you've only got a certain amount of birds on the property, and that are just staying here, they're just going to go from one spot to the other. They're going to go to the refuge where they don't get shot. So it's got birds was kind of a game we played with a lot this year.
How big is the refuge on your property?
Kyle would know that exactly. I'm going to say 25 to 30 acres.
That's awesome. Is it secluded, like trees surrounding it or anything like that? Or is it kind of open?
Essentially it's pretty open. There's a railroad dike on the west side of it that borders it. That's kind of, but no, it's essentially pretty open.
Do you ever just want to go hunt it?
Oh, all the time. I want to hunt it all the time. I'm trying to think if we hunted it the last day of season. I don't think we did. I think we were going to, and we didn't do it. But yeah, I want to hunt it all the time. So birds just sit there and laugh at you.
For it to be a refuge, and if it's, let's just say it's 25 acres, do you have a certain standoff from that 25 acres, or is like the line of that 25 acres you can hunt? Like, is there a buffer zone around it that you guys try to abide by, or how's that work?
Well, it's essentially its own unit. So everything out there is categorized in units, right? So there's these several different bodies of water. It's its own body of water. It's essentially in the middle. It's essentially in the middle of the property, but surrounding it, there's not a lot of other units that we hunt hard. So it doesn't catch a ton of pressure. The only thing that it sees is like traffic from the rangers or the airboats or whatever it may be on the far south side of it. And those birds, they don't even pay attention to it. After about 3 days, they know, okay, we're good here.
Yeah.
So, and that was something that Kyle was, he was wanting to do. And I think last year, maybe the year before last was the first full year for it. And it really helps giving those birds a resting area, especially on that property where they don't want to leave when they get there. So a safe haven for them. It does work. It really does. It helps hold birds.
Yeah, it's nice to have that option to do that. That's money.
I just
Yeah.
can't wait to shoot 2 mallards this year.
You can come down here and shoot more than that. You got to move to the Central Flyway.
I know. I say it every year. Say it every year. And you have high speed internet out there.
Indeed. So I got a question. I mean, does it get tough, having people always asking you for an autograph and all this stuff? I mean, because every time I turn around, I see a Yeti ad or a heavy shot box. I mean, you just can't escape the 737 crew. I mean, y'all are all over the place. I saw the Mountain Dew drops on their social and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I kid, but obviously you guys, are making a lot of headway in the industry, and you guys have a lot of cool things going on. And just talk about, like, obviously we're big fans of Yeti and stuff like that, and just talk about working with companies like that, how they come to the club and they say, like, hey, test our stuff, like, basically, they're saying to you guys, like, we got confidence that if you guys sign off on it, then we're doing something right. So what kind of how does that go? And I'm sure, like, there's lots of opportunities that kind of come along with that. But I think for a lot of guys listening to this show, that's like something that, is sort of like that dream scenario where it's like, and this almost can't be real. It's like these companies are just asking me to test their stuff. And next thing you know, it's like you're in the magazines and on the ammo boxes, and it's just it's a cool deal. And I know you're probably cussing me in your head right now for even saying stuff like this, but it's a testament to you guys and what you've built there and what your brand stands for and all that kind of stuff. So just talk a little bit about that.
I mean, I appreciate the kind words, because we have worked really hard, on our branding and our images, but working with companies like Yeti and Sitka and Benelli and Heavy, and having the club makes it to where, testing new products, seeing things that other people haven't seen, and kind of being able to mitigate who does see that. If you're a guy that's out hunting public land and you have a new pair of Sitka waders, it's going to be kind of hard to hide that.
Yeah.
Whereas when we can kind of dictate who sees what and that aspect of it, but testing new gear is awesome. Because I mean, you're seeing things, 18 months to a year before everybody else is. So we love that aspect of it. And the fact that people, put weight into what we say, it means a lot to us. We are very hard on equipment. If you can find me a motorized machine that'll last more than a year, let me know. It's brutal out there because it's just run and gun all the time. It's nonstop. You got to be going. And when they come out and test products, they just let us roll with it. They just step back and do what you do. And we'll just kind of watch from here and take your feedback and your constructive criticism and do with it what they want. But yeah, working with brands like that is a cool part of this job. I mean, I love Yeti and Sitka and all those companies, and for them to put faith in us to test products before they hit market, give feedback like that, it means a lot to us. And yes, we appreciate it. But being able to give feedback on products that are considered the high end, that's a pretty big deal, I feel like. And I don't take it lightly. So I don't spread myself out between 100 different brands. It's Sitka, Yeti, Lucky Duck, Heavy, and Benelli. I mean, that's it. It's and Gunner. I mean, it's just like it's these core brands. We try our best to deliver the most premium content to them and make it a two-way relationship. So that's kind of what we've aligned ourselves to do is not be spread so thin that we can provide a quality relationship with the brands that we want to work with and that want to work with us. Because when you associate yourself with brands like that, I mean, you're putting yourself on the same pedestal, and those are the top of the top in our brand, in our sport.
Yeah. And the thing that and I mean, Dan, I'm sure would echo this, but we've had the opportunity to work with some companies, to a lesser extent than that. And the thing that I always come back to is that no matter what the circumstance is, it's always like, when you show up to a camp and there might not, I may have never met these dudes before, but it's like always there's like just that almost instant chemistry because there's that shared, bond of like, love of the outdoors and, the duck hunting lifestyle. So I feel like I've always leave those opportunities really, sort of feeling, blessed in the sense that you just get an opportunity to meet cool people through this sport. And, it's awesome that you get to test products and there's also good things that come with that. But like at the end of the day, we've talked about this so many times in the show that a lot of these companies are not these big, massive conglomerates that you might dream them to be. Like there's a couple people that really are kind of, running the hamster wheel and making that thing turn. And those people work their tails off. And it's always fun to, get to hang out with them and see the stuff that they've been working on and kind of, kick ideas around and all that kind of stuff. So I just, when I see like the Yeti ads and stuff in the magazines and things with you guys, I'm like, I just think to myself, I'm like, man, this picture is probably a random picture taken from a hunt where like they were just having a blast, just hunting, just doing their thing. And then this image is the one that like when you throw everything against the wall at the end of the day and you're looking through stuff, it's like, bam, that one, you didn't even know at the time probably, but it was just another hunt, just an opportunity to be with folks who are like-minded. So it's always just cool to me how that story ends up being told ultimately.
Right. And my favorite thing about a lot of the brands that we work with, that they may either send, Yeti, they'll send a photographer because they have a lot of, in-house photographers or whatnot, and Sitka as well, is they're there just to document what's going on. This is not, what I mean? It's not a stage product shoot. They're just there, document what's going on. And like you said, you may catch that right image. And fortunately we've had quite a few right images lately, but I haven't had anybody ask me for my autograph yet. So
don't lie.
No,
Don't lie.
I do not. I do not want that. So,
well, when I make my way out to the shop, I'm going to bring my DU magazine. I'm going to throw it down on the counter and make you sign it for me.
So I have just one last thing, and we talk about it every once in a while. More of a reason that we don't understand why people don't do it, but something that you do great, and Josh is just laughing at me nonstop tonight, is interacting on social
He's very
media.
Sensitive. He's so sensitive tonight. Doesn't know what's that all
touchy
about.
tonight. A little touchy.
Yeah.
He's on edge because he thinks we're going to make him bench press.
Yeah, he's just mad.
It's been over 30 minutes. It's been over 30 minutes. No, but and just you come to mind. Ricky Hart comes to mind, and there's a couple other ones that when people that are trusting your product and spending the money on it, and to be able to interact with you on social media, I guess just how important is that to you? And you have to kind of make it your mission to be that interactive and really show the support behind the brand.
Right. And today more than ever, you've got to connect with people. I mean, back even before social media or Instagram and all that stuff, if you wanted to talk to a call maker or even anybody, it was, they're hard, it's kind of, they're on a pedestal, you know what I mean? Some brands, you just really couldn't reach them. And now with social media, able to interact with people, and the Facebook page that you guys have, being in that page and being active and things like that, people asking questions, and I'm just able to help them. I'm not trying to, I'm not putting a sales pitch on them. They're asking a general question, and when you can just help them at all, that speaks volumes to them. And being able to interact in that page that you guys have, I think is one of the biggest assets to the community that you've built, is they can get in there and interact with other waterfowlers. This guy's maybe done this or tried this, and this one hasn't, and he wanted to. And like you guys see, I mean, we get asked all the time in that page, what's the go-to duck call? What's your favorite duck call? What's your favorite goose call? And it's almost daily I get tagged in those, and it makes me feel good, because I want to go in there and tell people about our product. And I'm excited that somebody else mentioned us, because, you know, that means we're doing things right. But being able to, you know, interact on Instagram or Facebook, we want to be in reach for our customers, because since we're we're an online brand, people, they need to feel that comfort, as in, okay, you know, these guys, I think they know what they know what they're doing. And the fact that we offer the money back guarantee, you can buy our call. If you don't like it, just send it back to us within 20 days. And it's no questions asked, because I think we talked about the very first podcast. It is uncomfortable to blow a duck call in front of a lot of people. I don't care who you are. And, you know, I mean, obviously the guys that are on stage all the time, no big deal to them, but it's uncomfortable. You're self-conscious about it. So when you can just blow it in your house, and if it fits, great. And if it doesn't, we'll either get you in a different model, tune that one to where it'll fit you, or we'll just refund your money. With so many products in our line now, we can find a call for anybody. But being able to, you know, buy a call, return it if you don't like it, I think is an aspect that, or something that we bring to the table that nobody else does.
Yeah. I have to say, you know, that we talked about, I'm almost certain we've talked about this in the last time you were on, but, you know, the two big things that I see is a challenge to finding a good fit for a duck call. And let's be honest, like, you know, if you're buying polycarbonate call from Dick's, you grab it off the shelf, it sounds like crap, you chuck it in the whatever, no big deal. You know, you're buying an acrylic call or something like that, I mean, that's a little bit more of an investment. You want to get something that, you know, you're going to be happy with. And if your approach to that is to go to a show and blow it in front of the call maker, you know, who designed the thing, that's very difficult to do, in my opinion. And then two, that interaction, whether you're at a show or you're at a Bass Pro Shops or something like that, it's like what, 30 seconds? You know, it's like nothing, you know, and you give it a couple and you don't want to be like weird where you're like just ripping on it. You know, so it's always that weird dynamic. But like, you know, with 20 days, that gives you a chance to like, I sound like crap today. Let me put it down today and try it tomorrow, you know, and really get a feel with no downside to that. Like there's no reason not to try that out. So I think that's fantastic. And I mean, I'm shocked that more companies haven't tried to mimic that, you know, because I cannot see how there's a downside, you know, to giving folks the opportunity to try it out like that.
Well, and the other thing about the 20 days is, Josh, is you may blow it and you're like, oh man, this thing is like really close, but it needs this, or I would like a little bit of this. Well, when somebody can tell me, okay, it's not loud enough on the top end, or I don't really like the feed, you know, those are things that I can fix for somebody. But that 20 days allows them to learn that call, learn what they like about it, or what they wish they had in a different call. So maybe I can put them in a different model. I mean, it's just, in my opinion, like you just said, it's a win-win.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
no question. Yeah. And I mean, and not that I'm like patting everybody on this call in the back right now, but like, it is a huge asset to be able to like go on Facebook in our group and be like, you know, question, bam, to the guy who makes them, and, you know, get a response and be able to dialogue. I mean, I think back to, you know, not that long ago, just like you were saying, you kind of felt like people were on this pedestal because you only ever really saw them or interacted with them. I'm doing the stupid air quotes thing again. When you saw them in like a DVD, or like you read an article that they wrote in a magazine, like there was never that personal connection. So you always felt like, wow, that dude's like way like off my level. When in reality, you know, we're all very similar people in that sense. And it's just a straight up conversation in like, you know, Facebook and social media is taking that wall down. And in our group specifically, we really promote that, even from like, you know, peer to peer, not so much like even with just company to, you know, consumer type of thing. So it's really good from all levels in that regard. So, you know, if you want to come in our group, you can talk to you about calling ducks and tuning and stuff. You can talk to Barton about, you know, gun dog training. You can talk to Ricky about motion decoys. You know, you can get to a lot of people really quickly through that avenue. So that's definitely something that we're really proud of. And it wouldn't be as good as it is if it wasn't for guys like you that were also bought into that, saying, yeah, I mean, I see the value interacting with customers at this level as well. So, it's just a really cool thing that's really kind of happened out of
Yeah, I see a ton of value in that page, and that was, something that I wanted to talk about. Is we love that page because it does give us the interaction. And earlier when I was saying those guys, are unattainable, I'm not saying that they're too good or anything. Like you said, they were just on a DVD or in a magazine or at a show, and they were just out of reach,
Yep.
And now they're not. And so, it's a different age that we're in, and you have to. I think two things that you have, or three things you have to do now is you have to interact. You have to have excellent customer service, and you have to ship fast.
Yeah.
So,
Amazon, thank you.
yeah, there's no getting. I mean, that's just that's the world we live in, and you just have to adapt. So, and fortunately, we started our brand in that era, so it's been built in that era and has adapted as it's changed, and we've made changes and what have you. But our interaction with our customers is something we try to pride ourselves on. And I love getting on there and reading people's comments, because there are a lot of guys on that page that they don't run our calls, and they have so many other suggestions, and I just like seeing what everybody suggests, because I like to see what they're suggesting against our stuff, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I know it's funny because you said, I'm not being a salesman on there. I'm not pitching it. I'm answering questions. And I believe, I've seen a couple times where you wrote, yeah, that's a good call. Like I'd stick with it if it's working for you. And it wasn't your call, it was some other brand. And you're just like, if it works for you, go for it. So it really is a no pressure situation. And I think that makes people feel even more comfortable, dealing with you guys.
yeah, and the fact is, a lot of guys you can get real, I don't want to say it's just get real nervous asking questions. Like, you don't want to look like the new guy or the unexperienced guy in a group that, I don't, how many people are on your page now?
I think 9,000 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5,000+ people. I mean, you don't want to be that new guy, but in there, it's a comfortable setting, so people can be who they can ask the questions and they're not going to get backlash from it. Like, how
Yeah.
many decoys do you put out? Well, you know what I mean. And in other groups, it might be like, oh, here we go again. And then,
Yeah.
now it's okay. Well, tell us about your situation. What are you
Yep.
hunting? Where are you hunting? How are you hunting?
Yep.
So no, that group is invaluable.
And it makes me think. The reason I asked the question is just recently I've reached out to a few companies and wanted their services, and I couldn't even get a call back. And I'm like, damn, like if everyone was like Dustin, and would be there and answer your questions and be ready to help you in a moment's notice. And I'm like,
Dude.
like you would think that like people are wanting to work right now and like needing the work, and I can't get calls back on simple things. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't know if it's just the time or what, but
Well, so the one thing I do know that companies have been affected by is a lot of people are displaced and they're working in different areas. So I don't know how they're handling the customer service calls and requests that are coming in, if they're like being channeled to people that are at home or whatever. So there might be some other things going on. So like I do have a little bit of compassion for that, but to your point, Dan, I've got an email out right now to a company that's in the waterfowl space that if I said the name right here, everybody listening would probably know who it is. And I'm like 3 days in on just a question about a product that I've bought with them that's not performing to what I would expect. And I've heard nothing back. And I'm just kind of like, I don't, I'm trying to be like, well, it's COVID and everything else. But at the same time, Dustin, like you hit on it, man. I'm used to when I send an email to somebody, it's like 24 hours. And I'm kind of like, where you at, man? Like, is that,
I know what you're talking about.
so
And that's
I don't,
the
Yeah.
same thing, because I've sent messages on social to that same company and never heard anything back.
Well,
and
in some companies,
you see the read receipt.
Well, in some companies, like they don't respond via social media. Like they want it via email because they have ways to track it via email and systems that help automate that for them. So like but we've interacted with this company on social before, so it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is taken that customer service is invaluable, and it's something that we're happy that our group has functioned as to an extent, and we're also equally as happy that folks like you and everybody in the industry that's involved in that engage to the level that they do. So that's again just a win-win for everybody. And something that hopefully, I think a lot of people have taken advantage of that. And it, it does. My favorite is someone will ask a question about a duck call, maybe unrelated to your product at times, and someone else will in a comment just tag you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes I get that and I'm like, I don't see, where was I? Oh, okay, here we go. And the replies. Yeah. And then you kind of got to back read, and then you're like, okay, now I'm on the same page with them. But we're in the process of training another customer service person. So because we take Facebook, Instagram, my Instagram, Kyle's Instagram, and then our email. I mean, so you have it coming in all these different channels.
Yeah.
So we have 3 customer service people. I mean, because just the amount of channels, like you're talking about, some people streamline it to just their email or whatever, but you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Because there's, I mean, really and truly, if you're in a certain age group, you're going to respond on social media. If you see something, that's where you're going to respond. You're not going to go to their website, pull their email, then email them. So if you're not answering those DMs on your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever, I mean, that could be missed opportunities, or people like, they don't even care about us and answer our stuff. So,
Exactly.
it's constant, and it's a lot of information, a lot of messages coming in all the time. And so we pride ourselves on really trying to be the top level of customer service.
No, thank you. I think you're there, man.
It's hard. It's hard to stay at the top, when you've got so many different, customer service, like you're talking about, Josh, streams coming in. But, when it's the number one thing, you've got to put a lot of your effort there. Because it just as quick as your brand goes up, I mean, with the way information goes today, it can go down as quick as it went up, or
and
faster.
That's the thing. I mean, you're a businessman, so you know where I'm going when I say this, but like, there's a lot of money spent to acquire a customer. The money that you put into your advertising and your branding and all of that stuff that you spend money on to get someone to pull the trigger on your product. Like, that is not the time to let them like fall off the map and lose contact with them, because that's a customer that you've already farmed up. At that point, it's maintaining that relationship and
Right.
and fostering those repeat business opportunities, which I think everybody can say if they've had a positive experience with 737 as an example, and they're in a market for a new duck or goose call, they're going to look there first if they've had positive experience in the past. Like this company that I'm working with right now, or attempting to work with right now, like if I'm going to buy another product in that line, I'm probably not looking there, at least at this point, to start, just for that reason. So it's kind of a bummer that sometimes that happens, but I think you guys do a really nice job of that and kind of staying on that. So well done there for sure.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. It's something that we try very, very hard to maintain that high level of. So it's a lot of work, but obviously it's paying off. So I like to hear the good feedback. But
for sure.
it's like you just said before, it's so much more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to keep an existing customer. So if you can, if we've got somebody who's already bought a call for us and we can provide them with quality service, like you're saying, and a quality product, it's easy for them to come back to us. And that goes back to the earlier conversation we had about time and all that stuff we were talking about. But it's just part of the game. I mean, it's part of doing business. If you're customer service is part of doing business.
Yeah.
Especially, and like you said, like the younger generation and people that might want to be getting into it, like you said, they're not going to pull emails. They're on social media, and that's been a huge benefit for businesses. And if you don't take advantage of it, I cannot understand why not. It just blows my mind.
Right. And then too is if you're getting somebody to messages you on social media, most likely, they've got buying on their mind or something. So if you're letting that set for 24, 36 hours, I mean, in today's world, that's an eternity. It's gone.
Yep.
We've lost the fire. We're moving on.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing too, like in an online business and not just you, but a lot of companies now are doing direct to consumer. The buying decision is literally just me mashing a radio button on a website. So, that can happen in a heartbeat. And a lot of it's impulsive and a lot of it's like whatever. But, you know, like you said, 36 hours is an eternity for someone who's online shopping, you know, and it's why they got that, you know, the one-click checkout on Amazon or whatever. You don't even have to go through and put your info in there. It's just like, bam, one button and it is done. Like, it's just too easy, you know, these days. And, yeah, I mean, if you want to be
fast.
If you want to be a direct-to-consumer business, you better be in that ball game, or else you know you're going to miss opportunities. And unfortunately, I think some are. And it'll be interesting to see. You know, I know in a lot of local communities, businesses are really hurting with what's going on. It'll be interesting to see how it impacts the waterfowl, you know, space, and you know, see what kind of goes on there. Hopefully, people are still able to get out and hunt and, you know, spend money on things, but, you know, because of work situations or whatever, they might be limited in what they could do. So that makes even more importance to those that are going to make a buying decision to like capitalize on those particular people. So, you know, we'll see how that plays out with some of these companies that, you know, don't focus on that quite as much.
Yeah, I'm interested in that and how this waterfowl season is going to go. I think that it'll be a good one just because people want to get out and and do stuff, you know.
Well, it was like I saw somebody, I don't know if it was in our group or it was somewhere on social media. They were talking about, maybe it was Ricky that posted that maybe they had a grind episode recently or something like that from North Dakota. Can't remember, but I mean, if the border is not open or not easily transitable into Canada, boy, you better hold your hat for North Dakota, because it's going to blow up there this early season. I mean, they're hunting honkers this month up there, you know, so it's going to get gnarly, I think, if people can't get up to Canada.
I didn't even think about that, about them just hovering in North Dakota. I didn't even think about that.
I hadn't either, but I want to say it was Ricky or somebody posted it in our, you know, because they had like a grind or episode or something like that. And I was like, you know what, that's a dang good point, because I mean, it gets a little, you know, it gets a lot anyway, because you can freelance up there fairly easily, but I think you're going to get a lot of folks packing it up there because they just want, like you said, they want to get out. You know, if my kid's going to be in school virtually, we can virtual in the truck on the way there. You know, I mean, we can do it. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Dustin's second home up there in Montana that he loves. People are going to be packed up there, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. They'll probably do a pretty good job of keeping people out.
There's no birds there, right?
No, there's no birds in Montana, and also, I mean, it's kind of a different area, you know. I think you kind of got to be from there to gain a lot of land access. I don't know. Maybe Brady's just sweet, smooth talker, but no. I bet the North does get stacked. I didn't even think about that when Canada being closed. Huh?
Yeah.
What a weird time.
Yeah, we were supposed to head up, you know, first week of September, and I guess we'll know in 10 days if they extend it another 30, but we'll find out.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have very high hopes for that.
Right. Well, on a good note, we do have some new gear coming out. So we got a lot of new hats, new shirts, things like that. We're trying to so we're going to kind of move our brand away from 737 duck calls. We're transitioning to just 737.
The one name, like
we're
just Prince.
Just one name. We're just going one name.
Sting.
It was kind of the next step for us, you know. It's just because we're more than just duck calls now, so we're just gonna roll. Everybody knows it's a 737 anyway, so it's just kind of a natural fit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels like a natural transition for sure.
It is. So, you know, we're gonna start, I think, you know, transition our calls to say just 737 and a lot of our gear. We'll still have 737 duck call gear and stuff like that, but you know, we're going to try to rebrand into that. We've got a lot of new colors coming out this year, doing a lot of different flat colors that you've probably never, you haven't seen them in our line for sure. I would doubt you've seen them in a lot of major lines. So that's pretty cool.
That is the thing that I think you guys have always done a nice job that has caught my eyes. Anytime I get on the site and I'm looking at a call, I always feel like there's a ton of color choices to pick from and a lot of combinations, which, you know, I can remember, not long ago, it wasn't that way for a lot of call companies. And it was like, I've seen that same call on 100 people's lanyard. I'd like, if you're looking for something different or unique, you got a pretty good chance of finding it on your site, which I always liked.
Yeah, it's that's kind of funny because Kyle and I've gone back and forth on that several times. He loves a lot of color choices, and I do too on our website. But from a call making standpoint,
Oh yeah.
the amount of parts, it's a lot, and just a lot of different colors. But yeah, we having all those different colors, you can just kind of, instead of having 5 set ones, like you say, you see the same call on everybody's lanyards, the same black and white call or all black, whatever it may be. It just gives people, 10, 15, even 20 more choices.
Mm-hmm.
So with acrylic, I mean, in the acrylic world, you're kind of limited, when you get it, bigger quantities on the colors that you can get. When you do smaller runs, you can do a lot cooler stuff, because when you do those smaller runs and those unique colors, the price grows up exponentially. So, you have to pass that on to the consumer, some of it, and it's just not worth it to have those calls that are more expensive just because it's pink or, LSU purple or whatever it may be. So, there's a lot of actually transparent colors out there that are really cool when they're flat. So we started blasting those, and and they look really cool when they're flat. So we're going to come out with a whole line of transparent flat calls.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah,
a lot of different things coming down the line, with the shop and the kind of I don't want to call it a full rebranding, but we are, going full 737. New calls. I mean, we got a lot going on. There's a lot to be excited about for this upcoming waterfowl season. If you're a 737 fan, I mean, I probably can't even name the amount of new stuff we have coming out between calls and gear and whatever it may be.
So I see the hat that you're wearing is 737 only, which isn't on your site. And there is an olive snapback rope hat that is only 737 on the site. But besides that, everything else has the duck calls on it.
That's right.
So you're just gonna have pages of stuff on there. I'm excited for you, man. When's all that transitioning and taking effect?
We're gonna start dropping hats probably at the end of this week. So we'll start dropping hats at the end of this week. The shirts will be a little bit later. We're kind of doing some design changes on those, but yep, hats will be coming out this week. There's 7 new hats coming out.
Nice.
So yep, a lot of them are branded just the 737, and then we have some new Chief branded hats, and then hats that are coming out with the new calls.
Cool.
So, sick. Well, don't change the shirts because they're awesome.
Yeah, you like those shirts?
Yeah, I'm wearing one now. That's one of the most comfortable shirts ever. I wear it all the time.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with the actual same shirt, so you're good there. We won't take that luxury away from you.
Are you having Tef do the design work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. He's working on all that for us right now. So that's what's really cool about working with him is you can tell him the kind of direction you want to go in, and then he'll either take it and he'll do is he'll be like, okay, well, here's kind of what you thought, but here's what I thought.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. Just roll with Jeremy. I mean, he's the creative mind, so, and he does a fantastic job at it. And so having him, a part of our team, essentially, just, it helps elevate our brand, and he helps keep us fresh because, there's a lot that goes into logos and designs and things like that I don't have the creative mind for, or even the time for. So to have a resource like Jeremy, it really helps us out a lot.
When I was sitting around with him and he was talking to Lee Chose, and just hearing those guys talk back and forth about designing, and I was just like, oh, there's some creative minds in this room right now. It was just neat to sit around and, they had their books opened up, and it was a good time.
I bet those two can come up with some gnarly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, super cool. So
it's awesome. Well, man, you got a ton on your plate. I don't know how you must be taking your wife out to dinner every night or something.
Well, I've got a great wife and a great business partner. So he does a lot of the work, and then she does all the work at home. So I'm pretty lucky.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. But
No,
We're
congrats
definitely
on.
excited. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
excited for you, man. The shop is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it's fun seeing it now because, it's getting to the point where in the construction where, when you post pictures of it, you kind of get the feel for what's going to go down in there. And, I can't imagine as a business owner in your shoes going through that process and just the excitement that you guys probably have right now, just seeing your vision that you've spent so much time talking about, like coming to reality. That's such a cool thing. So super pumped up for you guys and excited to see that get kicked off. And, I don't know, Dan, maybe we'll have to find our way out to Oklahoma this year. We'll see.
I don't think there's no doubt about it. Especially if this if this September trip gets canceled, we got to get out there.
Yeah. The shop, it's super exciting for us. I mean, because I'm sure you guys know. I mean, we started out in the garage and spare bedroom, and my wife and I painting calls, and Kyle and his wife, we're just painting calls. Kicking out orders when we can. And then we went into another shop, and then within 6 months outgrew that, and so now it's just like, okay, let's do it. Here we are. So it's super exciting for us. I mean, a lot of people are a little skeptical of brick and mortars, but we need the manufacturing space. So if you're going to put that in there, you might as well have a showroom. I mean, because the fact that people can, local people or people that even want to travel a few hours, I would drive. I mean, I've driven, several hours to go to a call shop before. So just giving the people that opportunity is exciting for us. We're excited to show everybody what we're about, as off social media. You come in, you can talk to us, you can see who we are. We're normal people. We just, we happen to have this vision to have this, waterfowl brand, and it's taken off, and we want to show everybody what it's about. We want everybody to be a part of it. We want them to be, excited with everything that's coming out. And we think that the new shop just kind of solidifies and really brings our brand full circle.
And then just a cool place for locals to hang out. I mean, it's awesome. It's all awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how long we've been going, but I'm sure it's been a while. But I mean, all I'll say about this in closing for me is, what you guys have accomplished is really hard to do. I mean, the fact that, there's, a million people out there that are making duck calls, but to be able to, get to the level that you guys are and do it at the scale that you do, and just all of the things that we've been talking about this entire episode it's just super impressive. And, congratulations to you guys. It's just awesome to see where you guys are taking it. And, I mean, obviously it's no secret Dan and I are fans, but I think, obviously with what you've been able to do and where you're going, I think you got a lot of fans outside of just Dan and I. So congratulations on that. And again, just super pumped to see all of this kind of rolling out this fall, and it'll just time right up with hunting season. So it'll be like just awesome. And I'm already upset I'm not gonna have college football, so I'm gonna be all in on on all things waterfowl this fall. So pumped to follow along that as it ramps up.
Everybody needs something to look forward to, right?
Especially in 2020, man.
Yeah, exactly. Man, well, we appreciate that. Honestly, we appreciate all the kind words and all the help that you guys have given us, in the page and pushing the brand. It's like we talked about earlier on, I think before we started, we've come so far, and you can't, time in the industry is something you can't buy. So, I think the way that we've come far is, good, excellent products and customer service. So, that's kind of what we attest our success to. But, it's like you said, it's a tough market. There's a lot of people out there doing it. So to separate yourself is a hard thing to do. But fortunately, I think that we're doing that. You can always get better, but we're always looking to get better, have the next best thing. That's the hard thing right there, is always staying in front of the industry. It's a tough thing to do, because there's so many innovative minds out there in this industry that, it's a freight train, and you just got to be in front of it all the time. And it's tough to do and maintain your high level of customer service and your high level of quality product and all that stuff. It's just, but it's part of it. So we enjoy it.
Sir. Dan, we got one last thing.
I don't think so, man. It's like I said, it's awesome to be a part of it and watching you guys, like you said, going from a garage or to what you're building and stuff. Just it's a lot of people's dreams, and you're living a lot of people's dreams. So proud of you, and I know you don't take it lightly. So keep it up, and let's have you on here before another 2.5 years.
Yeah, let's get on here like after the shop opens up or something.
Yeah.
And you guys can come down. We can do one from the shop. That'd be really cool.
Live from the shop.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a good time. But we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you having us as a sponsor, having us being able to interact with people on the page. I mean, that's, like I said before, that's a big deal to us, and it's just another avenue for us to interact with our customers. So we really appreciate that. It's one of our key things with your podcast is that you get that with it. You know what I mean? It's like it's a big deal. So we really enjoy it, and we really appreciate it. So we appreciate you guys pushing us so hard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
You got it.
Bet. All right, man. Well, we're gonna let you go. Dan's got. Well, I mean, I don't know how this works with 75 hard, but I mean,
so
you're not gonna get your full workout
end your day
before midnight.
It doesn't. You can end your day at a certain time, and since I'm a night owl, I end my day at 2 a.m. So anytime.
All right.
What? And then I wake up and do another one.
Just giving you a hard time, man.
Is that because the bar closes at 2 a.m.?
No drinking, man. No drinking.
Oh yeah, no
days.
drinking on 75.
Yeah, he's just drying out over there for 75 days. Awful.
During the summertime.
Yeah.
Which I thought it would be harder, but it's been pretty good for me. So.
Really?
I think you're doing it at a good time. The end of summer gap in between, 4th of July and like waterfowl season, because when you get into waterfowl season, it's a gas station and 12 packs. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
September 28th is my last day, but I did tell Josh I'd start over when he decides to get on the program.
Well, I'm feeling all the pressure because like all the cool kids are doing it, and I just like a good challenge. So I'm kind of like, maybe I'll try it out, but I got a project going on at the house that I need to get done before I do that, because I just like drinking beer too much during that. It helps me get through the day or the evening. I should say. Not all day.
Not all day.
Anyway, all right, man. Well, it was good talking to you. Appreciate you giving us the time. Looking forward to following everything that's going on in social, and we'll be checking out all the new gear drops and everything coming up here real soon. So appreciate it, man. Best of luck with the opening if we don't talk to you beforehand, and we'll be tracking you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
All right.
That's going to do it for this episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast. If you're new to the show, head over to iTunes, check out some of our past episodes, and while you're there, leave us a 5-star rating and review. It's the best way for like-minded hunters just like you to find our show. Check us out on social media. Check us out over at hpoutdoors.com and anywhere you can find quality podcast content. That's going to do it for this week. Till next time, for Dan, I'm Josh. Take care.